Evening all, and welcome to another edition of Friday Night Magpie Live on the eve of our trip to Bristol Rovers. Are we going to step on the gas, as they say, and make it 8 straight league defeats for Bristol Rovers? If we are, we're going to have to do it without the club captain, Matty Palmer. It's been revealed today he is ruled out of tomorrow and for a lengthy period with a knee injury he picked up last weekend. Doesn't sound good. Have a sad feeling we're going to be without him for quite a little while. Also out tomorrow is Jody Jones. The knee injury he's had for a little while now. Still not cleared up, says Martin Patterson at his press briefing this morning. What does that mean? Well, what are your thoughts? Who do we bring in for Matty Palmer at Bristol Rovers tomorrow? Your thoughts and views, as always, on that. Goalkeepers. Martin Patterson. He's confirmed this morning that Notts are being proactive in the goalkeeping department. There's been a big story all week about Salford's out of contract keeper Jamie Jones coming in for a trial. It appears that was the case, but nothing Patto has confirmed this morning has materialised from that. There will be no contract offer. What Martin has also dropped the broadest of hints about the January transfer window, and in his words, we are short in key areas. That's clear to everyone. So I think that is kind of a real confirmation that he's looking to hit the ground running early in January. All that means we expect that Roos will be taking his place in the starting 11 tomorrow at Bristol Rovers. Our thoughts and views on that. Thanks as always to our official partners, the Big Shed at the Trent Navigation, and also to JH Accountants. And there's another brand or another part of the Trent Navigation Emporium that's just opened over the road, which is a new purpose-built indoor bar hire venue, and I can confirm that we will be having Jim O'Brien early in the new year in January in that venue. It's an enclosed venue and it's lovely and warm. Okay, so you don't need to worry, for those of you who come along for that, about being a little bit on the cold side. So I've had a look around it with Dave Williams. Really nice venue. And so the first 2026 Magpie Circle event will be with Jim O'Brien. Full details on that to be announced shortly. Might be a Christmas present. Buy someone a ticket to see Jim O'Brien live and uncensored, talking about what really went on behind the scenes in the year that Notts were relegated, and then of course the return journey back into the EFL. All that and more on our Magpie Circle Friday night live show tonight. Apologies, there seems to have been one or two glitches with the message boards. I know one or two of you are having problems getting your messages to appear. I've posted a few, none of them seem to have appeared, or only 2 or 3 of them. So please bear with us. 1,300 is the estimate I have from the club of Notts fans going to the Memorial Stadium tomorrow. I think that's a great turnout. Will you be one of them? Where are you travelling to Bristol from? I am sure magpies from all 4 parts of the country will be converging on the Memorial Stadium in Bristol. For quite a few of you, I think it's a new ground. We haven't played there for the best part of a decade. Let's get some thoughts from the message board for those of you who have been able to get through so far this evening. Bud Chatwin was first on tonight evening. So Kelle, Roos is still our number 1 keeper. Think we need to sort something out. Unsure how Kelle will be with Martin's comments today about the goalkeeping situation. Black Sox Pie from across the pond. Hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. Feels like a really big game tomorrow to get us back on track ahead of December and the festive period. Not a must win, but a really would help to feel positive win with some big games up and coming. Nigel Bosworth, yes, I certainly hope we can get back to winning ways, but we cannot carry on with the current goalkeeping situation as it stands. The fans are getting on Kelle's back now in the Kop for every game. Royston, evening Royston, according to Patto's presser, he said we'd had a couple of keepers in this week, but haven't impressed. That would be a synopsis, if you like, or clearly Martin doesn't think, because it's only free transfers or free agents that we can look at the moment, i.e. players who are not currently in contract before January the 1st. What else have we got? Ian Cooksey. Ian's getting concerned about the injury niggle that Jody Jones has suffered. One of his biggest fans, says Ian, but it's not looking good at the minute with the injury problems that he has been suffering. Tim Watchorn. Palmer is a really sad loss for us, making January and the window look even more important now. Bud Chatwin says, Iapenda and Bennett's will do me just fine instead of Palmer and Jones. Greza Maxwell is already booked. We'll put you right on the front, Greza, a table of 10 for when we announce Jim O'Brien coming to the Over the Road venue. You know where the mural is with the Clough and Jimmy Cyril, the big mural, which is literally just the opposite side of the navigation and the big shed. Well, underneath that, Dave Willens has fitted all that out. It's really, really nice inside. Latest state-of-the-art TV screens, heated. That's a big plus for us. It's really nice. He's opened it for 1 or 2 trial events and games, and so we're going to have our first event with Jim in January. Warmth guaranteed. No blankets will be required. Andy Easom, testing. Yes, it's working now. Remy Sky. Remy from I was going to say Manhattan, but he'll shout at me for that. In New York. I had no idea you did 2 live shows during the week. I do 3. We do one on Sunday morning, but that would be very early for you, Remy. That would be 5 in the morning for you on a Sunday. I only knew of the Monday show. Found this by chance and happy to have done. Hope all is well, the Magpie family. Loving the background info as always. Hi, everyone, from Sheila Ashton. The messages are starting to come in. Obviously, it's been unbunged. Wayne Wilkins. Not sure if it will help, but click the icon that looks like an abacus and make sure it's set to all messages. Helped me. Right. I will look for that. I will clearly struggle in real time to look for that, Wayne, but thank you. Remy Sky, his new mate, Black Sox Pie from across the pond. Who is this Black Sox Pie? Where are you from, Black Sox? Maybe a US invasion of knots is brewing. I think actually his baseball team is the Red Sox, but as he's explained to us before, would not be a great moniker to have red in black and white land of Notts County. Debbie Caden, after your interview, get your boots on, Martin. Colin Metcalf, the failings of our summer transfers have been brutally exposed. The team needs our full backing through a tough month. I then expect a strong January window, or serious questions will need asking. Again, I tend to agree a lot with what Colin says. Wouldn't disagree with any of that. But I guess before we, well, obviously there will be people at the club focusing ahead of January the 1st. Head coach and players, there's still what? How many games before January the 1st? 6 or 7. So there's 20 odd points to be played for. And I guess it's one of those, isn't it? Bristol Rovers, 7 straight defeats. I mean, to be fair, that takes some doing not to have had a point in there somewhere along the way. They did win in the FA Cup. Darryl Clark, who's had promotion for them before, successful manager. And as you might expect, Martin today was full of respect for Bristol Rovers and their players and his opposite number for what they have previously achieved, believes they have a good group of players. And I guess it will be interesting, aside from team selection, whether or not sit back in the opening minutes. Do you go for the jugular? The last thing I would have thought that Bristol and their fans would have been wanting tomorrow would be to concede an early goal. And that could really ask a few mental questions if Notts can get in ahead early of that game. I guess we as fans, we look at that 7 defeats, well, we're bound to get a result, but equally we know those statistical runs can be something of a banana skin for us. 1,300 fans we've sold tickets for, which I think is a great effort. Let us know where you are all coming in from tomorrow. I guess one of the other big topics, both this week and especially today, has been the goalkeeping situation. So before our Monday night show, there were quite a lot of rumours and speculation on social media. A lot of the flock had heard them as well. And it appears to have been correct that Salford's out of contract keeper, Jamie Jones, come to Notts for a trial, workout, call it what you will. And Martin today, well, he didn't confirm the name of the player, confirmed that Notts had taken an active look in training trial game at least one goalkeeper, who we assume to be Jamie Jones, to be one of them, but that nothing had come of that. So that kind of means no short-term contract being given, not progressing it. I guess with that coming into the public domain and Martin's comments, that is inevitably going to shine a light more on Kelle tomorrow. But then again, football, is a pressurized environment. It's how you deal with both physical and mental pressures. And wouldn't it be great tomorrow if Kelle can, have a worldie? Pull off a few great saves, save a penalty in the 95th minute, and we get all 3 points. Just something to, if you like, alleviate the pressure. It's a bit like a kettle, isn't it? Pressure cooker. It just seems to be magnifying a little bit more week after week after week. And ideally hope for us as a club, and for Kelle, if he could sum it up, a quality 90 minutes. In all honesty, he's probably not had a real worldie since he came here. Be great if he could just do that and just alleviate some of the pressure. We all saw everyone wanted Jatta out the building, if you remember, didn't go on the tour, all of those sorts of things before a ball was kicked. Served the ban, scored a couple of goals in one game. Jatta, and we all love his celebration by the side of the pitch. Football is a fickle business. Football's a fickle business. And while clearly Kelle would have a lot to do to turn the situation around, and Martin's clearly looking at it, it would clearly help our situation immensely if Kelle can, put in 2 or 3 outstanding performances and it just releases some of that pressure. What else have we got? I guess with January ahead, some messages from the flock. Ian Cooksey, Charlie Whittaker and Christian Dennis did us a favour last night. Big day tomorrow with 4 of the top 6 playing each other. Chance to make progress if we nick a win. Yeah, Charlie's actually scored a few goals, hasn't he, this year? Scored a few goals for Tranmere. He is a Merseyside boy, so I think it was a good move for him. Has he got 4 or 5 this season? Fair play to him. But Chatwin, we do need a new keeper, another central defender, 2 fast attacking midfielders, and a proven striker in January. Over to Richard Montague. You're going to be busy to satisfy Bud, Richard. Andy Easom, just seen at today's Meadow Lane Memory Club gathering today that Lou Macari and Martin Allen were guests. Indeed they were. I'll tell you a little bit more about that very shortly. Lee. Lippy Jane, I've had the call up. For my hip op. Any extra tips means I can't get to MK Dons and Grimsby. Or when I see you, or if I don't see you beforehand, mine was an anterior minimally invasive operation, which means they're going through the front of your hip as opposed to down the side, which is slightly longer recovery period. I wish you very well, Lippy Jane. I am sure, as a female, you're not like us males who whinge at everything, So I am sure you will do very well with it, and put me to shame. Debbie Caton thinks I'm being a little generous towards Kelle. Colin Metcalf, whatever people think of Kelle, and I have my opinion on him, the fact is, if he gets injured before January, we are in very big trouble. I think that's equally a very good point, Colin. Look, the reality, I think, of our situation is that if Martin felt within our current goalkeeping ranks there was someone that could do the job justice at League Two level, I think he would have put them in by now. But the fact that Cal has basically played in all league games this season tells you that Martin thinks Kelle continues to be our best option for League Two football. Remy Sky, good point about the Red Sox, Paul. Plus, being in the Bronx, home of the Yankees, Red Sox well hated here. But Black Sox is a team related to the Mafia fixing the 1919 World Series. My most favourite film is based around that. Field of Dreams, anyone? Brilliant film. Brilliant baseball film. Outstanding. Kevin Costner. Jonathan Hammocks. It's Jonathan, as if we didn't know Jonathan. We are not in a crisis, as some would have us believe. However, 3 points would be huge tomorrow just to steady the ship, especially ahead of the next few fixtures. Debbie Caton says, got to be someone out there other than Kelle. Well, I think that's the whole point, Debbie. Martin, if you like, and he's confirmed this today, trawled the net for free agent goalkeepers. Jamie Jones from Salford was among those, but the fact he's not making any offers of short-term contracts to them would suggest he doesn't feel that there's anything out there that would improve our current goalkeeping situation. Tim Watchorn, right. There's a bus going. It's leaving Tommy Tucker's gaff in Stapleford at 7:30 to Meadow Lane for a 9:30 departure. Iris Smith's Tours. There you go. Enjoy your trip on the supporters coach. Remy Sky. Remy, talking about attacking midfielders and transfers, Paul. Kelle Roberts is languishing in the National League with, I think, Scunthorpe. Is his form so bad he couldn't cut it to knots? Is he worth a look? I think one of the challenges Kelle had in the professional ranks was his body being able to cope with the rigors of 4 to 5 days a week training and playing 1 or 2 matches. Now, I believe Scunthorpe are full-time. He's done very well at Scunthorpe, but he has had 1 or 2 periods when he's been out injured for a little while. But clearly his ability is such that when he is fit, he's absolutely good enough for League Two level. Of that, I have no doubt. But Chatwin, Spurs must have a decent 21-year-old keeper we could have on loan. Now, that may be the case, Bud. But of course, we can't get anybody in until January the 1st, because those are the rules. It is only players who are not under contract anywhere that you can currently sign before January the 1st. Ian Cooksey does quite rightly point out, if Roos gets injured, we will be allowed to sign an emergency keeper. I think Grimsby have done that fairly recently. Jonathan Hammocks again. Every time we played Bristol Rovers, I still look for revenge from the 1990 Leyland Daff semi-final with the disallowed goal. I lost my voice that night. I have never forgiven the referee. Yeah, for some slightly younger people who think, what is this inverted commas alleged rivalry with Bristol Rovers? As Jonathan just mentioned there, it dates back to a particularly antagonistic Leyland Daff clash. There really was a competition called the Leyland Daff Cup or whatever. But yeah, we are going back 30 years. It was when Neil was here, when Neil Warnock was cutting his teeth, and we were kind of used to winning all the big games, but Bristol turned us over in that one. Bale and Ball, evening, a big 3 points tomorrow before another little break. Yeah, it's worth pointing out we ain't got a game the following weekend because we made a strategic withdrawal, I think is how they put it, from the FA Cup again at the first round stage. Richard Elvian is suggesting Brentford's England under-21 keeper Matthew Cox, who's 22. He was released last January. I guess my question, Richard, is if he was released last January, why has he not got a club now? We'll see. Martin Allen. Yeah. Now, Martin, friend of the show, friend of mine, friend, I think, of just about everyone. Lovely guy. Yeah, he sent me a message yesterday afternoon. Paul, he said, let's have a coffee tomorrow. I'm coming up to Nottingham for the Notts County Memory Club. He was asked to be one of the guests this afternoon. So we met up at the Navigation for a nice coffee. He was full of it, as he always is. I'm trying to think of any stories that I could actually tell you that he told me today. I don't think there are any, but they're all very funny and they're all very good stories. But yeah, so we had a good catch up. And he's lost a lot of weight. He looks really healthy now. A lot of weight. Looks almost back to his kind of playing weight all those years ago. So he went along to the Memory Club this afternoon. It's very well organised. Dave Watson's wife, Penny Watson, organises it all. And they had such luminaries as John Barnwell. He's pushing the upper 80s now. John was there looking very sprightly. Alan Hill, former goalkeeping coach, assistant manager at Notts, was there. Obviously, Les Brad, Brian Stubbs, about 20 or 30 people there. And as well as Martin, Lou Macari, used to be a big name with Manchester United, but also was West Ham manager. And he signed Martin Allen for West Ham. So those two had a good giggle and a good exchange of stories there today. Lou agreed to come over as well to tell a few stories. And Lou's story is quite inspirational. He runs and has run for a little while a homeless people's home. So the story goes, he met a couple of he bumped into a couple of homeless people in a shop window in Stoke one time, gave them a tenner each, befriended them, went to the council and set up a home for homeless people, has continued to run it. So certainly, a really great guy. And of course, his grandson is Lewis Macari, so he was able to catch up with his grandson as well. So very good cause, the Dementia Club. It's basically an opportunity for footballers to come back together. Sadly, Dave Watson, who started his career at Notts, Nottingham boy, and finished his career at Notts, is fighting the onset of dementia, and several other more vintage generation Notts players are also having some challenges with it. So they all get together once a month, once every 2 months, get together, exchange stories, and it's really, really good. And Notts are very supportive. Normally always takes place in the boardroom. I mean, they've even had people like Kevin Keegan came down for one of the first ones. So they've had a good turnout of former players to the Memory Club, which several of the clubs now are also adopting. So that is the reason some of you may have seen Martin O'Neill around the building today. He rang me on his way home back down south an hour or so before the show to say he had a lovely time and sent all his best wishes to everyone in the Notts County family. What else? Sengerschmidt. Simon Moore Sunderland, third choice, deputised for Patto in the Championship. Last season, 6 matches, 4 clean sheets, 36 years old. Contract runs out May. One to consider. Ian Cooksey, anyone remember John Newman, who was our temporary manager between John Barnwell and Neil Warnock? Hereford, I think, John, and Derby were 2 of clubs where he enjoyed some quite successful stints. Greza Maxwell. My eldest son plays in goal for Watton and As Lockton. Sort of semi-pro because he gets paid a tenner for his fuel. He's not bad and can catch. If Notts offered him £20 a match and a flask of Bovril. Yeah, and I think as Ian, I had seen something as Ian goes on to mention that John Newman sadly passed away earlier this week. And according to Ian, that leaves John Barnwell as the oldest surviving Notts manager. No, John, lovely guy, very sprightly, still sharp as a tack. I would think he's got to be upper 80s now, John, but he lives locally, not far from Meadow Lane. And he's still in very, very good health. Okay, let's talk Matty Palmer. Matty Palmer then. So confirmed today that Matty is out tomorrow and out for the foreseeable future. A knee injury picked it up, or it forced him to retire early of the defeat to Colchester last week. No time limit or time span has been put on the injury, but the way Martin was speaking, this I think is longer term, and I think we could be missing him for quite a while. No, there's been no mention of an operation or anything like that. How big a blow do you think that is to Notts? It's interesting with Matty, isn't it? I'm a big fan. I think he kind of he's the glue in a way that holds us together. And plays all the games. Most of the time, people think he's great. Then he gets battered by an element of the fan base because he takes short corners. But then everyone, to a person, when he's not playing, we're not the same team without him. I do think it's going to be interesting to see how we deal without him. Who do we think comes in tomorrow? Are you looking at Iapenda with legs up and down the pitch? Do you look perhaps at Ollie Norburn to come into that kind of sitting role with Scott Robertson, as if you like, those 2 sitters in midfield? Thoughts? And Ian Cooksey, literally as I'm saying that, will it be Norburn or Iapenda? Suspect it will be one of them. If you're asking me, I go Norburn. I think Martin tried to play Ollie and Matty together start of the season. It didn't necessarily work too well, and he by and large then just gone with Matty. I wonder whether he will play Ollie Norburn tomorrow. Andy Esom has been Googling. John Barnwell will be 87 on Christmas Eve. I wasn't far off, was I? Upper 80s. Martin Blaney. Jody Jones has not been the same player since his injury against Gillingham last season. Seems to have lost a bit of his confidence. Yeah, I think it's been a difficult season for him this year. if you remember, we started him out in a slightly non-customary position for him, playing as the 10 behind the striker. Not sure he was ideally suited, or I certainly think he's better wide on the flanks. So, yeah, I think it's been a tough time for him. He's battled his way back from serious injury before. I'm sure it's been a very frustrating time after what has, in terms of his first 2 years at the club, best player and League Two Player of the Year. Again, he has that ability, particularly in the final third, which I think Martin bemoaned last week, to take players on, commit players, whip balls in, and he is still the best at the club for that. So he is hoping that they can diagnose or get to the bottom of what this pain is in the back of his knee, and clearly we would all hope it doesn't require an operation. Excuse me. Andy Esom. I was watching yesterday's training clip from the club, and Kellen Gordon is up and at it again. I believe Rod McDonald is not too far away, but I don't think he comes into contention for tomorrow. We do, of course, not have a game next weekend, so there is then an extra few days before the MK Dons midweek fixture for us to get some of those players back, hopefully. What else have we got to chat about? Yeah, Bristol Rovers. 7 straight defeats. Is it the perfect time to be playing them at home? Their home fans are going to be a bit irritable, I would have thought. We'll have a big following tomorrow. Do we go for the jugular early on? Do we just keep it nice and tight, frustrate them, and wait for an opportunity? I think, though, I think it'll be a decent atmosphere tomorrow with the size of our away following. That's probably going to be on a par, I think, with Barnet. Maybe a few more, and ultimately, because of availability, it's going to be more away fans at Bristol Rovers than it is at Chesterfield, isn't it, on Boxing Day? Because we've only got 1,000 for Chesterfield on that day. Not quite sure of our allocation for Grimsby either. But yeah, thoughts on that? Where are we all travelling in from? Those of you on the train, I think there's already been 1 or 2 cancelled trains tomorrow. My son's had a notification, so if I was you, give yourself plenty of time to get to the station a bit earlier. Several of the Nottingham Derby trains have already cancelled. There are plenty of them, but just give yourselves plenty of time to get there and make your way down. And those of you going on the train, there's 2 stations near to the memorial ground. Filton Abbey Wood, that's just under 2 miles. For those of you who are adventurous walkers, it's about half an hour. A little bit closer to that is Ashley Down, which is a new station that's just under 1 mile from the ground. So there are a variety of ways. Do not try and walk from Bristol Temple Mead, because it's a long way from there. Yeah, it's quite a few miles outside of the city centre. Not actually that far from those of us who remember Bristol playing at Eastville all those years ago. I think it was about 50 years ago when I went on the Notts Railway special to see Notts play at Bristol Rovers. I think we drew. Bud Chatwin, I saw an article saying not Bristol Rovers squad, is it worth or salaried? 4.69 to our 4.65. Yeah, usual gibberish. I don't even particularly want to give it any validity, Bud. It is insider knowledge passed on to someone else, and then they fed it into an AI algorithm to compute player salary budgets at League Two clubs. We are allegedly 9th. Barrow are 8th. Yeah, well, I have no idea how Barrow are going to be 8th in League Two on the gates that they have and the ownership structure they have. So, load of rubbish. Basically, complete and utter load of rubbish. Ignore, avoid. Raymond Haig. Let's play Cerula on the left wing, Jarvis on the right, and 2 up front. We need to change things. Don't draw me on the inverted debate, Raymond. I'm not rising to it. Stuart Jackson. Dave Watson, Jeff Astle, Tony Hakely, all in the same team in the 60s. Even predates me being able to remember that, Stuart. So that was a long time ago. That was the early 60s, I think, wasn't it? I think that was about the early 60s. I think Jeff Astle came through the Notts youth team. Tony Hakely did. Dave Watson. Notts had some good kids. Notts had some good kids in them early 60s. Sadly, a lot of them moved on before they did a lot for Notts. But in the case of Dave and Tony Hakely, they both came back towards the end of their careers to finish their careers with Notts. What else have we got? Yeah, so over the road, the new venue, opposite the Trent Navigation. So at the bottom of there, if you want to go and have a look at it, new venue that Dave Willens has kitted out. So we're going to be getting Jim O'Brien along for our first event. We're going to aim for that round about the end of January, and Jim will be available to talk about the relegation season, because to be honest, no one's virtually said a single word about that. And then if you like the Renaissance under the brothers, Neil Ardley, and finally leading to the club getting back promoted into the EFL. Jim will be really good. He's very forthright, straight talking, and this is, inverted commas, an independent event. So I think you will be finding out a lot of things that you have not heard about before. So we'll be publishing details of those before Christmas. May well be a little Christmas present. You can buy someone some tickets for that event. Talking of Christmas presents, I've done another 4 since the last show. The Christmas present for the Notts County person in your life on eBay, message me. 20 quid includes postage. So if you want to get that, I'll get that all posted out to you. Stuart Jackson, who's obviously of a certain vintage, having recited the names of Watson, Astle and Hakely, says Stan Marshall was the man. Greza Maxwell, I saw a Dave Watson framed England shirt in the director's suite at the club. I believe there is one there, actually. I believe you're right, Greza. I believe you are right. What else have we got to? What else do you want to talk about tonight before we finish the show? I have to get ready early. Well, I won't say it's an early start, but it's an earlier start for Bristol Rovers tomorrow. Mark Stollard will be back. He wasn't on holiday this week. He was just on a break, by the way, he informs me. So he will be back with Adam, I believe, giving the commentary for those of you who are not able to make the trip down to Bristol. Take it easy, everyone, tomorrow. I think I did say those of you going on the train, Mansfield are at Cardiff, which will mean you will probably be on the same train as some Mansfield fans going to Cardiff on the way there and also on the way back, which may or may not be ideal and make for a bit of banter on board the train. Richard Elvian talking about another goalkeeper. Yeah, well, all that matters to us right now, Kelle Roos will be in goal tomorrow, and let's hope for a clean sheet. Are you expecting many changes tomorrow? Do you expect a broadly similar team? Obviously, the one enforced change will be Matty Palmer, who is ruled out. Greza Maxwell, part-time Magpie these days, won't be attending tomorrow as I'm working again on a Saturday. Andy Easom, as well as the train, it might be a bit busy at the M5 services tomorrow. Bud Chatwin, I hope Kelle doesn't have much to do and we win. I'm sure we would all second that. Ian Cooksey, this is a big game tomorrow and a result will lift everybody. In his presser this morning, Martin spoke about staying calm, 1 defeat in, is it 7? Stay calm, stick to your levels. Felt too many players individually weren't at it when they needed to be last week and were punished. I think there's been a clear. Yeah, it was a good interview today, to be fair, as it always is with Martin. I think there was a clear message to the squad that Martin is actively looking to improve the squad in January. And clearly the inference is not just in the goalkeeping position, but in other areas of the pitch as well. But currently the group of players who are excuse me. But this is an opportunity between now and January for this current group of players to stake a claim. And I guess if you look at someone perhaps like Rod McDonald, who had very, very limited game time in his first season with the club, didn't play much at all, did he? Yeah, Rod's come in and done really, really well. And I think I'm paraphrasing Martin correctly, in which Martin referred to him as one of the 3 best players of the season so far. Now, I don't think many of us would have been saying that about Rod McDonald on the basis he'd struggled to get into the team at the start of this season. So I think Martin's thrown the gauntlet down a bit to some of the other players who will see a bit of game time. And I think kind of the, stick and carrot, you'll get a bit of game time. It's up to you to show us what you can do. Because conversely, if you don't, I'm looking to bring more players in January. I'm interested to see what level of game time Will Jarvis perhaps gets tomorrow. I think he's clearly one that we all want to see playing more. But I guess from Martin Patterson's perspective, he needs to see a bit more from Jarvis in training. He is at least now figuring in the 16, 17, which he wasn't before. So I guess baby steps, up to him when he gets a chance to take it. Andy Esom says, think Martin hinted there were a few more absentees in training yesterday as the dreaded lurgy appears to be going around the squad. You mentioned he'd had to play, didn't he, to make the numbers up. I'm pretty sure Knott's travelled down this afternoon to Bristol, so they would have gone overnight. Yeah, be interesting whether he makes 3 or 4 changes or he just contents himself with one. Such is football world. We were all happy as Larry, weren't we, after Cheltenham? Great performance, one of the best of the season. 1 point from 2 home games. Woe is us. We need to do this. We need to do that, etc., etc. Ian Cooksey, I'm not sure you will see El Joffrey and Cotter again anytime soon. I wouldn't disagree with you on that one, Ian. Obviously, with Matty Platt available again, that fills up one of those defensive places, and you would think Matty would be first to come in if there were to be any changes to the 3 centre halves. Let's hope Robbo doesn't get injured, said Grezzo Maxwell. Yeah, he did a very good interview as well today. Said it's one of the shortest contract negotiations there's been before he signed that deal, and he's getting regular football, which is exactly what he needs, and having a direct influence on the game when he's playing, and I'm sure we all hope that will continue. And I guess there more will be riding on Scott Robertson in the absence of Matty Palmer tomorrow, won't it? Okay, I think that's just about done us for this evening. I look forward to seeing everyone at the Memorial Stadium, Bristol Rovers, tomorrow. I should be going down on the train, so I'll keep an eye out for you all. We'll be doing a vlog after the match. We'll be back on Sunday. It's quite momentous. Stell is not having a holiday or a break next week, so Stell will be back with us on Monday to review the weekend performance, result, fixtures, and let's see where we all are. So thank you very much, as always, to all of you for your participation. Sorry if some of you have had a few problems getting the messages through tonight. I will be following Wayne Wilkins' YouTube advice to check if there are any gremlins in our system. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Vlog Saturday, supplement Sunday morning, and with Stell on Monday evening. Thanks, as always, to our official partners, The Big Shed at the Trent Navigation, and also to Over the Road, who are now also partnering with us, the new venue from the Navy, and to JH Accountants. And as is very succinctly summed up by Stuart Jackson, we have to be behind the club always. Safe journey to everyone, says Ian Cooksey. Bring back the points. Andy Eastham says, make Robbo the skip tomorrow. Rosemary Mans, cheers all. Late arriving to the show, we'll listen back later on. Debbie Caton will DM you read your book. It's coming to me first. No problem. Send me a message, Debbie. We'll get that all off to you. Thank you again. See you all very soon and at the Memorial Stadium tomorrow. Cheers for now. Bye-bye.